I want you to imagine that you're a one man in a van, sole trader, and one morning your phone rings and you get 900 jobs all come in at once. What do you do? This happened to our guest today, and he's going to tell us all about what happened next. I'm James Martin, and this is Entrepreneur Conversations. I've looked at other podcasts and stuff you've done, and you're quite an entity in it with this big turnover business. But what happened? Because it wasn't like that literally 3 years ago, was it? Or 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, I think 5 years ago.
5 years ago,
About 5 years ago, James, everything changed.
To do that, you were telling us off air. Tell us what happened. What was the story? What happened?
Well, about 5-6 years ago, it started me in the van on my own, and I was, going to change a light fitting, earn 50 quid. 10 o'clock, I'd call it a day because I had no other customers and nothing else to do.
God, right.
And then one day the government changed the rules that every property in the UK needed an electrical safety check. And what happened was I was sat in the cafe one afternoon having lunch, and I had 3 customers at this point, and they all had about 300 properties each. And that afternoon I got 900 jobs coming. Wow. That afternoon from the 3 agents, basically saying, due to the change of the laws, we now need you to do an electrical check on all 300 of our properties. So I was sat in the cafe with 900 jobs to do, bearing in mind I was doing at that point probably 3 or 4 jobs a week because I had hardly any customers. Right. And then I was just eating my lunch thinking, what am I going to do? Do I say no?
Yeah, do you say no? Because you're going to let them down, aren't you?
How can I fund it?
Yeah.
How can I do 900 jobs on my own? Do I really know what I'm doing? Have I got the experience? And just tackling all those negative thoughts in my mind to turn around to them and say, sorry, I can't do it. But I made the decision to get it done, and I found a way to do it.
So what did you do then? I mean, you needed help, didn't you, immediately?
Yeah, I think it was a case of reaching out to people in the industry, people that I knew, from other engineers, other people that I built relationships with, and say to them, look, I've got a lot of work here. Yeah. I can offer you something that no one else can offer you. I can pay you more than your current firm is paying you. And what I managed to do is I managed to pull people in quite quickly by paying them more than their existing company, pulled them in and just sort of dealt with it day by day, James. And
what happens with that? This is called Entrepreneur Conversations. You probably weren't an entrepreneur at that stage, were you? You were just a man in a van, having self-employment, and you've sort of gone overnight with those phone calls to having to start creating a company as opposed to a solo career. So how did all that go?
Yeah, it was a case of waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, James, and going to bed at 10 o'clock at night. I would go out on the tools. I would work all day long. I would come home. I would then be sending the invoices out to the customers for the work that was done during the day. I would then be calling up 7, 8 o'clock at night residents for the next day and the day after and the day after. Right. And it was just a case of not making excuses and just basically getting it done whatever was required, because I wasn't an entrepreneur then. I was just a man in a van going to do a few electrical jobs. I wasn't even interested in creating a big business. I was just interested in trying to make some money for the week. I wasn't looking to...
And I would imagine at the start, Brad, it was just to get those jobs done for those requests of those people, those 3 customers, to get their work done. And then did you realise that then there must be a lot of other people in these three customers' situation that also need it? And it was all, it had to. Did it have to happen at a certain timeline as well?
Well, there was all. They brought the rules in to give people a certain amount of time to get the work done. Okay. There wasn't a massive pressure on us to get them done. But the way I was looking at it was, look, there's a lot of money here. Let's imagine every job's £500 a job, £600 a job. The time you've done your repairs and everything else. The way I then looked at it and started seeing the invoices being paid and the money coming in, I thought, well, there's an opportunity here. Yeah. And then what I'd done is, once I had some guys around me and they were doing the work and I was sort of slowly coming off from doing the work, what I was then doing is I was going on the train, stopping at one end of the line. Let's say it's a central line. I'd stop in Ealing Broadway, I'd get off the train, I would knock on every single estate agent's door, and I would say, I'm a local electrician, I can do your electrical testing for you. Mm-hmm. And I would literally spend every single day going from one end of the train line to the other, knocking on everyone's door until one person said yes. And one day I was in Camden, I knocked on the door. A big agent in Camden had 1,000 properties under management, and I said to them, "I'm a local electrician." The property manager said, "Sit down." So I sat down, and I thought, well, he started grilling me. Right. Would you do this? How do you do this? How many people have you got? What do you do this? Just firing questions.
And did you fluff it a bit? I've got loads of men. I've got loads of hands.
The amount of lies I told him, James, was unbelievable.
We all do it, baby.
The amount of lies I told him, but then I walked out of there with the work.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
You know, that was just from a case of, people say to me today, "How did you do it?" I said, "Well, I'm just knocking on people's doors."
Yeah.
I don't care about someone saying no.
Yeah.
I don't care about 99 agents that turn around to me and say no. I care about the one person that says yes,
Yeah.
and eventually someone did say yes.
People are very, they get hung up on rejection, don't they? And rejections, you're never going to see the person again, and so what?
Who cares?
And by doing it and walking with your feet to the fire, you just get better at it as well, don't you? You get more sort of chatty and sort of, you know, I used to do a very similar thing with the agents were very good for dishing out work. You know, property agents, all tree work we used to do, rubbish clearance and stuff like that. And when you found Donna, and Donna just has got a pile of problems on her desk, and she just wants them off. They need to know someone they can trust and that they can get on the end of the phone to do it. So how long did it take for you to actually come off the tools? Or are you still on the tools now? I mean, what happens? Tell me.
James, the only time I go on the tools now is when I want an escape from the office. You know, some days it would just be relentless in the office, and it's just, you know, tomorrow I'm going to go on the tools just so I can just take it back to me being in the van. But also, you don't forget what it's like for the engineer on the road. You know, if I can work on the tools every now and then, I can then also relate to my engineers and the pain that they're going through.
When any quibbles and Skypes, the things they've got to talk about. What happens, Brad, with you've gone? I think it's very smart what you've done, because you've just gone niche. Because I said to you, and are you doing general electricians and commercial electricians? And you said, no, we just do that.
We just do electrical testing in social housing. That is all we do. And I think I'm a firm believer of, if you do one thing and do it well, that's all you need to do. Because sometimes you can do 2, 3, 4 things at 20% each, or you can do one thing at 100%.
I really do agree with you, because you stay in your lane with what you know about, and then you become niched for that, and that's what you do. Here, the big wedding venue here at Baddow Park House, you know, funerals, should we do 50th birthday parties, should we do this, do that, and all of it turns up to, we just need to do more weddings and more of it, and now we're just known for that, and they're geared to do that very, very well. And I think that's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, I think you get a lot more credibility doing one thing and one thing well. You know, you look at some people's vans and it says painting, decorating, plastering, this, and then you think, well,
master of none,
master of absolutely nothing. And it's you know, I think I've got a lot of credibility over the past when I've had meetings with people and said to them, look, this is what we do, this is what we specialise in, we are good at it. Same as you about we don't do anything else, and we're happy with that. There's enough money to be had there.
And how do you see? Are you still knocking on doors, or how's the funnel work now?
It's changed. It's gone from me in the van to dealing with estate agents to now we're getting rid of all of our estate agents now. There's too many questions, there's too many conversations, there's too many emails back and forward. Right. Now on the social housing front, we get a list of properties, 1,000, 2,000 properties at a time, and say, look, that's your workload for the next however long. Right. Crack on, get them done. And the housing associations, they're not interested in quotes, they're not interested in, you know, back and forward. They just want the job done. Yeah. And now we've just sort of, it's just a case of, we go into the job, James, we do the test, we get the remedial work done, and it's finished. There's no back and forward.
So you are picking up, you're doing that testing, but you're like an MOT station. You're doing the test, but also there is this stuff that needs to be mended and done, or things changed around, or things are out of code, or whatever it is. So you pick up those other remedial works as well
at the time of test, because the housing association don't want reattendances. The resident doesn't want the reattendance. Our engineers are geared up to do the test and do the, you know, your smokes, your fans, your everything else that the client's requested at the time of test. And then all that is a case of engineer attends, and we're invoicing at the end of the week. The job's done. As opposed to an estate agent, you do a electrical test, then you've got to raise a quote for the remedial, then he's got to speak to the landlord, then he's got to speak to someone else. It's too much messing around.
These housing associations, they're kind of almost non-profit organisations, aren't they? They hold down millions of pounds worth of real estate, don't they, that they've got coming in. So there's kind of there's a fund of money to make sure that it is up to speed and up to code, isn't there? There's not a lot of resistance, is there?
There's no resistance whatsoever. I mean, some of our customers got 150,000 homes. Yeah. Wow. Divide that by 5.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yeah, you divide that by 5. That's 30,000 properties they've got to do per year. You divide that by 12. That's 2,500 a month.
And what do you have to have it every what?
Every 5 years. So if you divide their portfolio by 5, you're looking at 2,500 properties a month that they've got to do across their whole estate. That might be 500 in London that needs to be done per month. Some customers, we do 350 jobs a month for one customer.
So go back to what I was asking you on the funnel for the work. What happens? How are you getting more housing associations then?
I think
to grow the business. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is. I had an action coach, James, and she said to me, you're trying to get new customers, but why don't you speak to your existing customers, because they've got other departments and they've got other people that you can speak with that also need your help. And that's what I've been doing now with my existing clients, as opposed to looking for more. I've been speaking to my existing ones and saying, can you put me on to head of compliance in that side of the country or that side of the country, and speak to them there. So the majority of our work come from LinkedIn.
Right.
It's the same thing about people saying no again. We'd send out 50, I'd send out 50, 60 messages. 95% of them people would say, no, sorry, don't need you at the moment. Yeah. But there is 5% there who have got a big list of problems. And if I could turn around to them and say, look, pass that to me, I'll take your pain away, I'll get the jobs done and send you a batch of jobs that are finished at the end of the week without you even talking to me, they can't really say no.
And you've been in the social media area with your business for a few years now. Do you think you get work from that?
We get so much work from LinkedIn. Yeah. I even now get, because of the amount that I do on LinkedIn, I get people actually approach me and say, look, I've seen your stuff, I've seen what you can do. Can we have a conversation about what we've got available? I think on LinkedIn, it's not about talking maybe so much about how great you are, but maybe it's talking about what you're doing. Like some of the community stuff we do, I'll post that on there. That gets a lot of engagement, or stuff that's unrelated to how great you are, really. You know what I mean?
I mean, they talk about it, and they when I talk to people that are doing brands, or they're doing building up websites and stuff, and they talk about people spend too much time weeing on themselves. They talk about we this all the time, and really what you want to do is talk about the technical point of solving the problem, and you're there. What the speed is, how you can do it, how the cost effectiveness of it, the swiftness of it. What you just said to me makes so much sense, that when you're there, you can also look at smoke, you can look at extraction, you can look at all those other elements that all end up with having electricity used through it, and you can check all that for them. So they're getting all that with one visit, and the remedial repairs. Well, that's great. To set them visits up is hard work, isn't it, for them as well?
It's massive. I mean, we've got 5 admin girls in the office, and it's constantly all day long. They're calling residents, emailing residents, trying to get bookings. Residents not in, we don't get paid. It's a no access. I think going back to what you were talking about, I think it's in any business, it's getting the basics right. For us, we are reliable, we are on time, we are responsive, we get the paperwork back to the client quickly. It's people try and dress it up as being, businesses. You've got to do a million things. I think it's just take it back to the basics, get the basics right. So
you've obviously done some work on you, because you're talking about you sitting in a cafe as a solo worker, to now, when I listen to you talk now, you're talking about all of those moral sets and values to making a company great. So what have you done? Have you been reading books? You talked about a coach that you had. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I had a coach for a period, and we used to go through some of the challenges that I was facing, because as a one-man and sort of business owner, I couldn't talk to anyone. I had no one to talk to. I was just me and my thoughts. What's the right way to turn? Can I do this? Can I do that?
It is tough, isn't it, Brad?
It's tough, James, and you don't know. You've got to make those mistakes. But the action coach helped me, because we would go into a meeting and I would say to her, look, these are my issues, and she would hold me accountable. No one else could really hold me accountable, because it was just me and my business, and if I didn't do something, I didn't do it. But she held me accountable for my actions. In terms of reading, I've read a couple of books. I don't read too many, but I read a book once called Scale or Foul by Alison Manson, and it just talks about taking the risk.
Yeah.
It talks about just, now the way I look at it is, give me that, I will find a solution.
And what do you think you are? Are you, in your head, are you an entrepreneur, or are you just a business owner? Are you just bloody lucky? Are you just forthright? How do you brand yourself? What do you think? If someone said, what are you?
I don't know really, James. I'm just a normal guy, really. I just sort of, I don't know. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not into. I don't really know. Really, I never really think about it. I'm just.
Well, clearly, you've got entrepreneur tendencies to actually be doing what you're doing with the moral set. What you've just told me there is a rare quality that only a few really get. That consistency, that lane staying things. You know, why don't we do everything electric? And then all of a sudden you're just diluted. And one of the questions I wanted to ask is, well, is it? In that testing world, is it competitive? What happens there? Where's the margin on your price point and what you charge?
A lot of it is, and a lot of businesses in my industry, they've got PAYE staff members. So they've got engineers that are being paid 45, 50K a year, whatever they do. Yeah, so I could have 10 guys there, 5 of them could be doing more than the other 5, they all get paid the same.
Yeah.
The way I run my business is I pay people for what they do. So my engineers that work for me, the more you do, the more you earn.
Right.
So what that allows me to do, as opposed to other businesses, is my engineers will be changing a fuse board at 4 o'clock on a Friday because they're earning more money. Whereas other businesses at 3 o'clock, they want to clock off, they want to go home. But what that also allows me to do is manage my margin. You know, for an example, we might get paid £100 for a smoke alarm. It costs us £40 to buy it. I pay the engineer 10. We know we make £50 an alarm, minus our operational costs.
And is it competitive for the testing? Is there a set fee for it that everybody sort of adheres to, or?
It is competitive, but I think any industry is competitive. But I think I come back to the basics and getting the basics right, James. It's people can't do. I personally believe people can't do what we can do.
Right.
People can't get those basics right in terms of getting that paperwork back to the customer. I think when something goes to tender, there will be 20, 30 companies that bid on that contract. I've just bidded on Epping Forest, which is the Epping Forest testing program, which is £2 million a year for 5 years. I don't know how many people are going up against me, but it is competitive in terms of that. But
and is that how you're going to sort of, and you're wanting to scale the business bigger? Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
And then is that what you're going to do? Is do that through growth through tendering? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, that's what we're doing now. We've now got. When we was doing £1 million, £2 million a year, the councils can't really take us that seriously.
Right.
They can't risk awarding a £1 million, £2 million business with a major contract because they've got to ask themselves the question: is that company financially stable? Can they deliver what they're saying that they can deliver? Yeah. But now we're doing, £5-6 million a year. We're taken a little bit more seriously. We've got evidence of previous experience and what we do every day. So, yeah, it's all at tender. And for us, James, I want to go direct to the client now. We've had to work our way up from working for main contractor.
Yeah.
Before we was all the way down. It went from main contractor to subcontractor, then to us. Yeah. Now we're working directly for some customers. Yeah. And then we're working one below the main contractor, so we're working our way up.
But it's almost like you've had to build the business up to get fit enough to be able to win the contracts.
Yes.
When we worked for a lot of MOD, local authority, and municipalities, up and down the country, and the hardest thing, I tell the story, Brad, was to get in the first one because the form would always say and list existing local authority contracts. Yeah. You've got nothing. Where are you starting from? It's like, where's the chicken and the egg here? And I've told the story before. A lovely old guy, Mike Wortley, that I met at a conference. I told him the problem, and he gave me a break. And as soon as he gave me that break, I was off. Because we could then use that on and we just went for everything up and down the country. We were like a rat up a drain pipe with it. But it means that you get credible enough that if you're working for Darlington Council, you can work for Epping Council. You work for and it trickled on. And we've got Royal Parks, and it snowballs on. What I learned really was that the the person giving out the work didn't want to lose their job. And that's crucial to them. And they were sometimes the person that made the decision. But they just wanted to make sure they had cover with the contract that they were giving the work out to. I think that's what you've alluded to there.
Yeah, there's a massive transition in my industry at the moment where, like before, they were giving it to the safe haven, the big main contractors, the £700-800 million turnover businesses. But I think now, recently, I've started to see those companies lose those contracts and also start giving the work to smaller businesses, £5-6 million businesses, because you get that more personalised service as well.
Yeah.
You know,
where do you want to get it to? Where's your stars in your eyes? Come on, let's have it. Think about this. It's going on the record.
Yeah,
because we hold you accountable. That's the problem.
I don't know, James, to be honest. I just wake up every day and just crack on. I think I don't really know what. I've never really sat there and thought, what's the end goal? I think for me, really, it's. I don't want to work till I'm 65, 70. I want to be able to.
But this looks like a great business that you could sell.
Yes. Yeah, it's got.
And have you got that in your head?
I do sometimes. I think about it, but I would think, someone if I was to sell it, I'd want a lot of money for it.
Yeah,
because of the money that it does.
Well, because it's an earning and churning regular machine.
It's repeat business. It's just repeat. Like even today, I walk in the office. First 2 emails you got another 500 jobs coming. Yeah. And it's every
6 does sound like 12.
Yes, okay.
It does sound like 12, doesn't it? That's like a good bounce. You just go, I think we could double this in the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, I think that's the mindset I'm under now, moving into 2026. I think, and my leadership team, me, my 2 brothers, the ops director, we talk together, we feel that there is no ceiling in terms of what we think we can double our turnover next year.
You mentioned your family there. Tell us how it works. Are they employees or are they shareholders?
They're employees, but they also get a cut of the contracts that they bring into the business. Okay. So my brother Sam, he's 24 years old. Right. He does all of the finance for the business. So he issues all the purchase orders out. Right, okay. He invoices every single job. He's unbelievable, James. He don't miss nothing. He's so switched on. Yeah. And when you've got someone like that you can trust so much dealing with the money side of the business, he's like massive,
the gateway to all purchasing and stuff.
He's a gateway to purchasing. He's the gateway to every single job that's invoiced. He will make sure that every single job is invoiced. We're making money on it. If there's something that doesn't look quite right, he'll be pulling it.
Because in here we have Linda, bless Linda Reeve. Shout out to Linda. Look at Ollie's face. You can't get through Linda. I mean, if that invoice comes in and the VAT doesn't add up, it's wrong. It just goes on a pile. She doesn't even tell them. She thinks that they're just the idiots for not sending in the right paperwork. So, and then people phone up like a few weeks later, go, "You've not paid us." I said, "Oh no, that's because you don't know how to do numbers." And she's, "Oh my God."
Well, James, back to Sam. He was on LinkedIn and he messaged this customer that we've got now 14 times. They never responded. The 15th time they responded, they needed us, and now they give us 300k a month worth of business. Wow. And that's from Sam. So he is an employee of the business.
And your other brother?
The other brother's Dan. So Dan deals with all of the material. So as a business, we spend about 200 grand a month on materials, and he is the gatekeeper for materials. Them two are, to me, the key things of the business.
Can you pay that on your Amex card? Get all those flights?
Pay out on the Amex card. We got 60-day end of the month payment terms with wholesalers. We can, because of the money we're spending now, we can now sort of play them off against each other. Everyone now wants our business, whereas when I was a one-man band spending 100 quid a month, 200 quid a month, no one really cared about me. No. But now you're doing major numbers. There's people approaching you and saying, "Look, I can beat you what you're paying at the moment," and it's crazy what's happened really.
And do you then, Brad? Do you own the company outright?
I own the company outright. Yeah,
it's good. I see. I spoke about this on other pods that it's a family affair. And there's people giving out jobs and shares like confetti and all the rest of it. What you've done there is very smart. That you brought family in that you can trust. So there's that, and that you can work out the politics and the nuances of how you deal with your brothers. But it's also that you've kept them at arm's length from making decisions. You're the decision maker.
Yes, everyone in the business knows that I'm the final decision is mine. But what I've also done is, we go back to when I was self-employed, it was just me on my own. I had no one to consult. I had no one to talk to. Yeah. It's great to have them there because I can hear 2 or 3 other people's opinions, and then I can make the final decision what I think is right. They will trust my judgment. They even turn around to me and say, "Brad, whatever you decide we'll back you on it." They know that. But I like to hear what other people have got to say before making my decision.
I think that I did a post about a week ago talking about how entrepreneurs need to get into an environment where they can have their opinion changed. You know, we do a masterclass here, and you'll sit there, and someone's doing something because their opinion has always been that, and it might have come from their parents that this is the way you do it. Or you save up money, you buy a building. Well, our opinion is you don't. You get enough money for a deposit, and then you borrow a load of money to buy a building. You know, whatever it might be. But to have the flexibility in your mindset to not be set. It needs to be fluid enough to change with the times, change with new ideas, finding new sort of avenues to have a more open conversation to how you can scale that business. You know, I think the one thing that's come out of this podcast is the loneliness, and it always froths up to the top. How do I make those decisions? It's just what you said earlier was interesting. It's just me and my thoughts. Are they the right thoughts? Am I going in the right direction? And that is clearly we're doing the right mastermind with the right group. You know that you've got younger entrepreneurs, but you need to be at your level at an upper mastermind place where you can go and actually discover and explore what the next chapter could look like. Who's going to do an exit? Who's going to buy you? What actually do you need to be on scale to be bought? You know that you want your how many times on EBITDA to be sold, but we need to know what that is. Well, you need to probably know that now. If you don't know that, what does the market do? Because the people that would buy your business, Bradley, would be a investing company. They wouldn't want to run your company. You would you've already got it now. You've got a whole management team sitting there, and you could just step to one side, and off it would go into the sunset. You know, that's very exciting. You know,
I could do nothing for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I could, apart from take a couple of phone calls here and there to talk to my team. I built up to a stage now where I could leave those guys to do what they need to do.
Earlier in the off-air chat, you told me what you take, and we don't have to disclose it to it takes nothing out. It's just about enough to pay the Tesco's bill. That's an entrepreneur, Oliver. We see it. You're taking nothing out, not robbing the company too early to take stuff out. And we had a brief conversation. Is how the bloody hell do we get the money out? Now you're also doing another company with your brothers, brother or brothers?
One of my brothers, but my other brother is now getting involved. So there's 3 of us doing that.
So this is a property company. So explain that, what you're doing.
So what we've done now is we're loaning money from the main limited company to a secondary limited company that we've set up, a company called JRM, which is a property business. Right. And this year, with some of the company profits, we bought 12 properties in a year. And what we're doing is we're buying properties off people that are looking to sell out. They've had enough of being a landlord. We're basically taking them over, becoming the landlord, and getting paid the rent. Right. And I've never been up to Durham. We bought them all in Durham. I've not been up there once. As far as I see it, I don't need to go up there.
And then what happens to remedial maintenance for those properties?
Just leave it to the managing agents.
Leave it to the managing agents.
Yeah. Because for me, you know, we're pulling in 4 or 5 grand a month profit from that business already that we've only set up 12 months
and
ago.
what are these student homes? And
they're just normal, 2-3 bed street properties that we've managed to buy at a reasonable price. The numbers stack up. I think it's just taking the risk. We're happy to take the risk.
And will you build that up? Will you buy more?
We're going to aim for 50 next year. Yeah, okay. We've had a discussion. We're going to try and go for 50. And
my gig used to be that, and we sold them with a partner, and I sold those. We had 90, and we sold all of those on to one bundle to the Patels, and the Patels bought that off of us. Then we moved into commercial property. Have you thought of that? Would you look at that?
The problem where our offices are in Loughton in Essex, James, is I'm looking for, what I wanted to do is I wanted to buy a bit of land and put some industrial units on, take one for ourselves, rent the others out. But unfortunately for us at the moment, the opportunity hasn't come up. But I am looking at buying a building for ourselves. I think we've got to that stage now.
My 2 pennies on it, and it is a world that I know a lot about. I wouldn't do that. To build them out is too expensive because the code is too high. With building control, it's really and it's actually why there isn't lots of people building commercial property new, because by the time you've built it out, it's a 10-year return on money. The gig is to find something that's run down that you can then upscale, new cladding, new roofing, new roller shutter doors, whatever it might be. But that's what I'd be. And they are a rare commodity, especially where you are. Bloody hell. I mean, you're inside the M25. It's a nightmare. To find anything, it's like gold, or you step outside or whatever. But you've got to be geographically located for your bounce for all your teams to go out. But my two pennies on the pod, I might as well say it, is that I would definitely start looking more into commercial property if possible, and don't just look at one. Try and look at a whole estate where, just buy the whole lot and buy as big as you can. Don't buy enough for you, double it so you buy plenty to grow into it. But that's what I would do, because if you're looking at what you said earlier, to get those funds out tax efficiently, just build yourself a whole nother company on the side and do that as your commercial arm, and that can be your domestic arm. But that's very exciting, because you've still got this earning and churning machine producing profits that can be lent to the other company, and then down the line this is still this is the fast pounds, and you're trying to grow companies over here that will be slow pounds. This is all earning you money when you're asleep, where this is earning and churning every day, and possibly could be sold. Well, when that's sold, the money comes in, you've still got this sitting here as your pension, your backbone of whatever you're going to be doing. That is very good.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to take a moment to let you know about Baddow Park Mastermind. I have created a mastermind for high-level entrepreneurs. There's only 16 spaces and we've only got a few left. If you often find you're the biggest fish in the pond at other masterminds, click the link in the pod description, because this might be just for you. Now, back to the pod. I think, Brad, the short time we spoke previous to the pod to what I see in front of me now with you is you are a shining example of grabbing the opportunity and then executing it very well. I mean, mate, you must have gone on a steep learning curve, mustn't you? To get all of this sort of team building and, back office and everything else. I mean, you really have.
The amount of mistakes I've made, James,
I love it.
over the years, but it's great that you make the mistakes. I think you learn from the mistakes. I think... For me now, I've just become a very, very direct, straight to the point. I don't tolerate any bullshit. No. I don't tolerate, C or D players when I've got all A players surrounding me. If I see someone who I don't think is good enough or keeps moaning or something else, I just offload them. I'm just literally just straight to business now. That's just every single day. But I think that's the only way you learn. You make mistakes. I remember when I was, even way before when we were talking, I wired up my first set of lights. They wouldn't turn off. I didn't really know what I was doing. Okay. But without doing that, how do you know? You can't. It's been a journey, mate. It's been a journey.
I think that the bravery sometimes to take the opportunity, as opposed to just keep the blanket on and keep comfy. Comfy is there's not a lot of learning done in comfy, is there? I mean, it is uncomfortable, and when it's uncomfortable, you are getting there quicker, aren't you?
And every day is uncomfortable. I wake up in the morning 6 a.m. I've got anxiety. I check the phone. What problems have I got this morning?
Let me ask you this, Brad, because we try and ask every guest this. How do you deal with stress? How does that work in your world?
It's going to be a crazy answer, James, but I don't really get stressed.
Okay, cool.
I don't really get stressed. I think because of the people that I've got around me, a lot of the time I'm in control. I think the only time I get stressed is the end of the month, when we've got to lay out 400 odd grand at the end of the month with materials, purchase orders and everything else.
All the bills have got to be paid.
All the bills have got to be paid. I'm not stressed out because we haven't got the money there. Well, I know we have it. I'm more stressed out because it's just a bit overwhelming, thinking I've got 40 odd people relying on me to be be paid, and it's
they're relying on you to pay their mortgage, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And I've just managed it over the year. I think I think you get tougher, right? Yeah. The more you deal with it, month after month after month,
you get resilient.
You get resilient,
and I think you end up with sort of like this sort of Teflon coating of, well, we did it last month, we do it again this month, and then all of a sudden you turn around, and you go, oh my God, it's like 6 million turnover now, and it's now 40 people, and you can't hark on it too long because it will explode your brain. You've just got to carry on marching forward. What about worry? Do you worry? Stress and worry are very different things. Do you worry?
Not really.
No.
I try to put positive thoughts into the world. I try to look at the positives in any situation. Instead of worrying about things that don't happen. I'll worry about things.
Yeah, worry is something that hasn't happened yet, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
exactly. Yeah. And it's what I say it to my missus all the time. What's the point worrying when it's not even happened yet?
And have you got children?
Not yet, no.
Keep practicing. That's what you must do. That's a little tip for everybody on the pod today. You must always practice if you do want them. So what is what is outside of work? What do you do? Is there a hobby? What else are you up to?
Not really, James. No,
Another boring entrepreneur.
I think it's. I've been boxing for the last year on a Saturday. That's probably that's the only bit of exercise that I've been doing, because it's just the business has just taken every last bit of energy.
So you really are in there, aren't they? If you've got no kids to have to marshal and do, and you can keep her happy indoors.
Mate, that's all I've got to do is just make sure the business is running and keep the missus happy. That's all I've got to do.
But that will give you good focus, because it's it's those bits when you've got those other things outside of the business that pull you. They pull you one way or the other from experience. And
there is no work-life balance, is there?
No,
there is.
No.
I don't think I've been trying to.
When you're in the deep as you are with your level that you are, I mean, it's very difficult to get that separated. And we, and I try and do it more and more now, that when I'm there without the phone on and stuff like that. But it is difficult, and especially when you're at the stage that you're growing this thing, and you're growing it at obviously a very big pace to get it to work.
I think the hardest thing for me is it's my money. So the money in the business is, the majority of that is my money. Yeah. And it's, I'm faced with a decision. Do I take the risk and take that next contract on and fund that again for another 100k a month or whatever it might be?
Until you get your invoicing coming
Until you get the invoicing coming in. Do I fund that or do I just, be comfortable where I'm at?
And have you borrowed money to scale?
Never.
No.
I've always used I put £4,000 into this business about 7-8 years ago when I changed it to a limited company, and now it's got over $1 million in the account. Yeah.
That's very good.
In cash at bank. Yeah. So it's been, never.
So you're being in such a very fit position to go and buy a property within the company as well. I mean, it would be good, or buy it or lend it out to buy it outside of the company, whichever way you're going to do it. We'll speak to your accountants, obviously. What's been the most scariest moment? We try and do that on the pod. What's been the
scariest moment was about a year and a half ago. We had about 200k in the account, and we owed out about 350k. Right. So that was the first time ever I looked at it and thought, well.
And what were you?
I can't remember what we were owed at that point, but I knew I was at a stage where I'm starting to get a bit scared here.
A bit twitchy.
I'm starting to when I'm going to sleep at night, I'm struggling to sleep, because I'm thinking I owe out 350. I've got 200 in the account. I've never been in that position before.
But that tension probably serves you well now, because you won't let it get there again.
No. I had no choice. I sat in a big meeting a few years back, and the guys were talking to me about an opportunity for us that they had, and I was thinking, I can't do this. In my mind, I was thinking, I can't do this. I can't fund this. They were asking me, can you do it? I said, yes, I can do it. Yeah. Easily, I can do it. And it's, you come away from that meeting thinking, what have I just...
But you read all these stories, don't you? Read Branson, you read Elon Musk, they go, we just do. We just go right to the wire, right over the edge, don't you? And then luck or grit and determination brings you back to making it work. And if you hadn't done that, you wouldn't have taken the opportunity. What has been the best moment, that exhilarating moment? What's been that?
I think the biggest moment for me was hitting 7 figures in the bank account.
Yeah, it's good.
I think that day I woke up, I had a payment from the customer. I see 7 figures in the business bank account. And
come on, baby! I love it.
I printed the bank statement off.
Yeah, that's it.
And I kept it, because for me that was I don't know.
The machine is working, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like when you see that, it's gone from 6 to 7. It's like, fuck, man, we're flying here.
Yeah, we're flying.
We're becoming a monster.
A proper entity, aren't you, in the space? And
that was the greatest moment that I can think of personally.
Yeah. That's good, isn't it?
In terms of personal achievement. Yeah. But yeah, there's been ups, there's been downs. But
will you do other services, or will you just stick in that lane? Is there any other way to maximise your existing customer base?
There is. I think there's a market in fire.
Yeah.
So your grade A fire systems, and your even commercial properties and bits and pieces. That's another avenue. But I think that would be a case of me in a couple of years' time buying an existing fire business, bringing them into us, and then obviously
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Why in 2 years? Where did you get the 2 year from?
I think for me at the moment it's just a case of building the team in the offices. We've got another couple of big contracts starting.
But Brad, if you bought a company that was big enough, it would have its own team. You wouldn't need that team to run the fire. You would buy in the company, and don't buy a £1 million turnover company. Buy in a 5 million, 6 million, £10 million turnover company, if they're that good, the bank will fund most of that for you, and you can do some vendor finance, whatever it is. But you could buy that in, and then you've got all of their customer base that would then possibly become your customer base, and vice versa. But when I listen to your story, how you're saying it, you're just primed to buy something like that. Fire, whether you could do insulation as well. I mean, your customer needs all of those services, don't they?
I think the problem with the installation side is you can do a 400k job and be left with 3 or 4% on the bottom line. Yeah. And I look at that and think, what's the point?
There's a lot of material involved in that.
There's a huge outlay, and one thing goes wrong and the contractor doesn't pay you on your last payment. It's
and we hear those stories.
You hear them stories all the time. Yeah. You don't hear about businesses that are working for councils getting knocked. They always get paid on time. Yeah. That's another thing. We're only working for people that pay us on time. I don't tolerate customers paying us late. I put them on stop. I don't tolerate people not treating us with the respect that we deserve, and treating my staff with respect as well at the same time. So I think they're like morals, my own personal moral, what I expect from our customers. They expect things from us.
But you're technically, and we do the same with Rentroll here, and other sites that we own. You're technically grooming your customer to be behaving itself to the payday, or however it's got to be with interfacing with the stuff, whatever, because it gets around, doesn't it? It gets out there that they say, oh no, if you don't pay within a month, they send a letter and they say, then you get a CCJ. That's what happens. Very rarely have we ever done that, but I'm just saying we do make sure we don't let the mice play around. We keep it tight.
Well, I had a company, one of our clients, £200 million turnover business. They weren't paying us. I called them out on LinkedIn, got 25,000 impressions, a couple of hundred likes. 2 days later, director calls me, he says, can you take your post down? I said, no. I said, you pay my money, I'll take your post down. And then he said, all right, let me see what I can do. Later that day, he paid the money.
But do you lose them as a customer?
Yeah, but we didn't want him as a customer.
Right, okay. I really respect that, mate. What you just said there is very, very true. You didn't want them as a customer if they don't pay.
Why do you want them? I think that a lot of people make this mistake. They keep working for people, building up that credit, I had a customer the other day, James, offered us another work stream, and I turned around to him and said, you owe us £750,000. I said, I'm not a bank. I can't keep giving you credit after credit after credit. That's how companies go bust. Yeah. And why I say 2 years, I don't know why I say 2 years really. I just sort of taken every day as it comes.
No. But when your approach to it, to doing it that way, Brad, is very inspiring. And I hope people at home listen to that, because your avatar customer is a paying customer on time with open doors to test. So you've got doors that are open, you can go and test it, and that's what you want. And I think that in early stages we're just snatching and grabbing customers because we want turnover, and we think that's the right way to do it.
I was doing anything to earn 20 quid. I'd drive an hour and back to earn 20 quid, and I've just lost 50 quid. Just because nothing else you can do.
Has there been like a low point with building the business up?
I remember a couple of years back we had 15 staff members, and I had two of our main customers that were giving us 96% of our work, say. Both called me in the same week, said, sorry, we ain't got no more work for you. And I was sat in the roof in my truck, crying, thinking, I've just turned up to work, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, I've just had them 2 calls in the last 24 hours to be told I haven't got any more work.
The whole team.
What am I going to do? Am I going to turn around to the 15 people and let them all go?
Oh, man.
And what we done is we just started smashing the phones, and 2 weeks later we had more work, and we didn't let anyone down. But that was a tough moment, and it was a moment where it was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. But then I just picked myself up and just got cracking again.
Did it really hurt you?
Yeah, I was sat in the truck crying, James, because it broke me that much from spending so much time on building it up to where it was, to just be brought all the way back down to. But then I think it's great when something like that happens, because that taught me a valuable lesson. I was giving, the majority of our work was with 2 customers.
Yeah, it's too small, isn't it?
All your eggs in one basket. That's what it was, and it broke me down. But then it gave me that motivation to get back up again.
And now, what would be how many customers do you reckon you've got now?
Now we've probably got 15 odd customers, but 15 good, strong customers.
Good, strong customers.
Yeah, people that, like, literally, if you lost one of them, it wouldn't affect us pretty much too much.
And you've marshalled your way through your process of how you keep those customers, and you lose the ones that you don't want, that don't pay.
Yeah. We don't tolerate it anymore, and I don't think we should tolerate it.
No. I invite you to have a look over my shoulder at my newsletter. If you want to hear about the things that grab my attention each week that could bring you value, sign up in the episode description. Now, back to the pod. Producer Ollie, what is next? What are we doing? Oh, here we go. Here we go. I can't help it. This is good fun because we get good questions from this. Now, this is tombola time. I spin it, we pick balls, you give us the questions it relates to. So here we go. All right, let's go this. Well, we might need some WD-40 on this, I think, mate. It's all kind of bit...
The balls weren't even moving, James.
No, well, they were. Just put your hand in and shake them around. Don't break the secret.
Oh, no. 13.
Oh.
That's unlucky.
It is unlucky.
It's unlucky. No, not really, but I mean, I know it's unlucky. It's unlucky.
Well, sorry, number 13, it just says, it's not really even a question, it just says work-life balance. What's your take?
We kind of did discuss that a bit earlier, didn't we? I mean,
it's like... There's no real work-life balance.
Not with that responsibility, is there? I mean, it's a lot, isn't it? You know, all of those mortgages to pay and everything else, and you're kind of... You live it, don't you? You do live it.
It is what it is. I've just explained to my missus that it's just... There ain't no work-life balance.
Well, Ollie, what do you think of this question? Because you meet loads of entrepreneurs when they're coming here and you interview them before I interview them. So what do you think? Do you think they do that?
I think there's people that have ambition and they just want to go.
Yeah.
And then I think there's people that make it work.
In it.
Yeah. And then I think there's people that are able to make it work, but maybe don't go as far as they probably could push their business.
Like I'd say to my missus, you've kind of got to put up with it. It is what it is. This is the life I've chose.
Yeah.
You either
please don't take that as what we suggest you do.
No, I'm
just
saying,
put up with it, love.
You either stand by my side or you.
Yeah.
You know, this is the path I've chose. You either stick by me or you know, it's what it is. I can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for us. I'm doing it for the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Luke, who we had on a couple of weeks ago, he had a divorce, but then he met someone who just met him operating at the level that he's operating at the moment.
Yeah, that's very good.
Accepts it from
understands.
day one.
Yeah. That person hadn't really grown up with the business from bootstraps. That they'd sort of met him at this very, very big level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, let's do another ball. We put that one inside there because it's rolling away. Right, here we go. Oh no, just put it on the side there. That's it. Okay, right, here we go. Right, I'm going to get these going now.
Yes,
because I've been criticised by Brad that they're not moving around. You know, you don't get prizes. You only get questions.
There's no money in here.
That's what he was saying. They don't move. I want a fair crack at it.
There's no money in here. Let's get that one. It's looking at me. Number 5.
Come on, what we got? Question 5, baby.
Can you give us a time you were screwed over? Or maybe when someone tried to screw you over?
Well, I'll go first then.
Yeah,
I was when we were doing the property stuff, and I was, with this partner that I'm not longer with now, but they did screw me over. They took them. The shareholding was all very well, but then when the millions came in, that's when the problems. And we were very naive. I was very naive, and he was a lot older man than me, and he was smart, and he just done me out of like 2 or 3 million quid. And there was nothing I could do about it. And he's kind of just tipped the blink and just said, well, we're all grown-ups.
How did he do that, James?
Oh, mate. And do you know what? You just had to suck it up, take the lesson, as expensive as it was, and just now, I'm very, very true to what I do. I own 100%, and that's it. I can't have that partnership thing anywhere near me because it's the scar is just too... The scar, Oliver, is too deep. Even as I talk about it now, it pisses me off that I actually allowed myself to be hoodwinked into that situation, and that still hurts me, and it actually gets me when I talk about it now because, I feel an idiot. I was foolish, but the only positive I can take from it is that I learnt the lesson. Yeah. That was it. And what about yourself? Have you thought of something that was...
I don't think I've been screwed over. I don't want to jinx it, James.
I wouldn't mess around with him. I think he'd knock your head off.
I don't want...
Especially with his boxing.
Maybe that's why no one's screwed me. That's why no one's screwed Maybe that's why no one's screwed me over yet. Maybe.
You just calmly look at me in the eyes and say, well, you owe the money, so pay the money.
Pay the money right now, mate, all right? No, James, I had a staff member leave the business a few weeks back. We had a meeting with her. Basically, I said to her, every 10 things I give you to do, you get 7 of them wrong. Right. I said, this needs to improve. Yeah. 2 weeks later, she asked me for a pay rise. I said no. Then she starts kicking off, going upstairs, effing, blinding, like an episode of EastEnders.
Right.
She's took the van. She's dumped it down a side road with the keys on the top.
That sounds like a resignation
just
right there.
Literally lost her head. Like, I don't know how she expected a pay rise after I told her, what you're doing is not good enough.
Seemed like the wrong time to ask, yeah.
And then left the van down the road with the keys on top with a big furry ball on them, just so everyone could see it as they were walking past. Right. Wow. Lucky the van was there when we went to go and pick it up. But yeah, mate, it's been...
so that was the end of that?
That was the end of that, mate. Yeah, that was her last day in the office. It's been...
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Right, let's do another one of these, Ollie, yeah? Oh. Right, come on, let's get this thing going. Right, here we go. Right, Brad, get in there. What have we got?
Do you want to pick, James?
No, you go. You got the thing.
Let's get that number there, that orange one. Oh, number 2.
Number 2. What would you say to a young entrepreneur who is trying to run a business? So someone that's already launched and is going, what would you say to someone those early stages?
What do you think?
Don't listen. My advice to entrepreneurs just starting out is don't listen to friends, family telling you what you're doing stupid and you can't do this, you can't do that. Prove them all wrong. Just get it. Just don't listen to what they're telling you because they're always going to be negative about the situation. If you want to do something, go and do it.
Yeah, it's very good, mate. I like that. Do you like that? That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it is. I think that the home environment of people close to you. I always talk about the brother-in-law because the brother-in-law doesn't really want you to succeed.
He doesn't
because it'll make him look like an idiot. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of I wouldn't be doing that. And I think that is very true. I like that, Brad. That was a great answer.
It's boring, James. When they say that, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I don't think you can do it.
And I think it goes back to the loneliness. You go to that barbecue and everybody's saying, "So how's it all going?" You can't really have a conversation at that barbecue because they're people that there's nothing wrong with those people. They're people employed. They wouldn't understand it. But how can you do that?
And they don't want you to do well either.
No,
they don't want to hear your great stories, James.
And I think what happens, fortunately, unfortunately, but what really happens is as you go through, you mix with different friends that you used to mix with. You find more camaraderie with other entrepreneurs or business owners, and you just change because on that journey, and we spoke about this, Ollie, the other week in a pod, that people just become very different on their journey to become. You have to change to become the person that you want to be, and you do. And things are very different to what you started out being to where you are now. When you talked earlier about you're intolerant of some of these customers mugging you off with bad payments, speaking badly to your team, this, that, and the other, and then you just drop them. But in the early stages, you sucked it up because you didn't have a choice. But when you're getting further, you just say, "Well, that is enough's enough," and I think that's very true.
I think the bigger you become, James, you can start turning around to them and saying, "No, mate, I'm not having it. No, I don't care."
And you're doing it for the right reasons because unless you do that, you're not going to have a profitable, successful company. I see so many people in business and they've got this company and they've got a lifestyle, doesn't earn any money. And that's not good enough because you can't improve your staff, you can't improve the vans, you can't buy things with it, you can't invest back into the company. All you're doing is just literally spinning wheels round in a circle, and you're just an employee for the government on tax. And that's not going to work at all.
What are we reading?
And explain. I know we have spoken about this before. And how much money did we pay for that jingle?
I think it was 2,000-3,000.
No.
What?
Shut up! You didn't do that.
We could have done that today.
Yeah, we would have done that. We'd done that for 400 quid. How much did you pay for that?
What are you reading?
I think it was £20.
I think it sounds like
that
£20.
sounds
That sounds about right. No,
yeah.
you're right on the right. We'll give you that. That's fine. Yeah, put it in your claim at the end of the week.
The guy really didn't want to make it.
Really?
I sent him the request, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure about this."
It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was like,
yeah, but we did ask that as well.
Yeah.
We did. We wanted it as an
I
embarrassing.
said, "I don't want it to be good," and he
No.
was like, "Oh,
No, but don't you know that I do really good? Yeah, I know, but we want a really crap one.
Yeah.
That was it. That's funny. We spoke off air before. I've got this. What we're reading. I haven't been reading that much. I've been busy. I've been doing a lot of travelling and doing stuff. But I have been watching more podcasts on YouTube. So I've actually been, like people watch this on YouTube, but YouTube, doing deep dives. I've been trying to learn more about AI and how it can help the business, and how do I integrate AI gently without upsetting the whole team. But they've got to start putting it in. Your office will have to start putting it in somewhere to make the thing more fluid and stuff. But everybody sees it, well, we're all going to lose our job. And it isn't like that. And we're going to get some guests on here that can explain it better for our audience. But that's what I've been doing. I've been doing a bit of a deep dive on that. Yeah. What about yourself? Do you YouTube? Do you do that? You dive in?
I sound quite boring, don't I, James?
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say anything.
I don't really... No, mate. All I say, I don't read that too often.
Right.
I don't really watch YouTube too often. I don't know, mate. Really, I just wake up, get to work, and just.
Well, listen,
go
mate.
bed, mate.
Whatever.
No,
you're doing a superb job at it. Yeah.
About the consistency. It's just the consistency day in, day out. It's just get up like you've just got tunnel vision to just smash through whatever's in front of you.
It is, Brad. It's reps and sets, isn't it? You know, we meet lots of different people, and people ask me. I go to schools and do a little talk for schools, a little keynote for them, and it all looks like it's all get rich quick and TikTok and online and it just amazes me.
It's hard work, dedication, day in, day out.
We have got men out today doing tree surgery. Well, I've been doing that 48 years, and we still do it. Because we know it, and we've got a massive customer base, and they keep coming back, and they keep asking us. We don't publicise it anymore. It's just our old customers that we do. It is there to be done, and it is a bit boring, but it's a machine. And if you've got the model right that you clearly have with your business, you've slicked it right in to sorting out the customer that you actually want, how much you're going to charge them, how quick they're going to pay you, all of the fundamental things that you need to make the thing a roaring success. It's very good to meet you in this, because we get lots of different people, and you've been outstanding in a very different way of staying very true to that lane of what you're doing, and I want people to look at that and not to be, there's loads of shiny things you can dive off and we're going to open up this, we're going to open up this, and it really, if you've got it down and the model's down, then grow that model, and you'll get better and better at it. It's good.
Yeah, and I think people, you go back what you were talking about before, the Ferraris and everything else, people want an image of 50 vans driving on the road with their logos on.
Yeah.
That's an overhead.
Yeah.
I don't have the vans.
No.
My engineers are subcontractors. They've got their own vans. Why would I pay for their vans, their insurance, their everything else? Yeah. They've got their own. It's one less overhead for me. All right, you might have 50 vans on the road, but you've got a huge, much higher overhead than I've got. Yeah. So they're paying their own diesel.
There's a prestige that they want to be seen.
Yeah, they want to be seen to have 50 vans on the road. I don't care about 50 vans on the road. I care about 50 vans on the road that are not mine.
You're not Charlie Mullins.
No, I care about 50 vans on the road that are not mine, that I'm earning money on every single one of them. Yeah. That's what I care about.
But that is because, Brad, you've built the model in that way.
Yes.
Because if there was all these vans to be driving, everybody would want a van, but you've done it in a very different way, where you're dishing out the work and you're paying them good premium to do the work for you, but you're doing it in a motivated way, and that's why they're putting the fuse board on at 4:00 on a Friday afternoon, because they're earning more money for themselves and they're earning more monty for you. And I think that is really smart. I like it.
And the thing in this industry, James, the hardest thing is finding the right engineers. We always find the right ones because they all talk to each other. They want to bring their friend in. Mate, this is what I'm doing over here. Come and work for this firm. Yeah. And what I'm finding is people are approaching me without me having to really do much.
And do young people want to become that engineer, those apprenticeships and stuff like that, or how does that work? Do you do any of that?
We haven't got any apprentices on the firm, Jay. No. It gets drummed into us. You need to take these apprentices. You need to do this. You need to do that. I think for me, I want quality personnel. I want experienced people.
Execute the work.
And that opinion might be controversial. But I'm looking for great people that have got 10 plus years of experience who I can send to a job, and it's as if I'm going there.
And they're not going to be fazed by an issue that they've got to sort out, and they can do it there and then.
Done and dusted. Finished. That's very good. I'm trying to mitigate any issues.
Yeah.
I don't want to be babysitting people. I just want the right people in to get the job done.
Yeah, okay. Brad, I think we've had a great conversation, and I think our listener and viewer will really like your story, because it is a very good story. if people want their stuff tested, if there's someone out there watching us that's got 5,000 houses that they need to be looked at, where do they come, Brad?
The company's called Imperium Group. The website is, I don't even know what the website is, James. That's Imperium Group, www.imperiumgroupuk.com. You can also contact us.
Yeah.
0208 749 1222.
And LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, Bradley Jones.
Yeah.
Imperium Group. I'll be on there.
Find Brad. If you're in that space, seriously, find Brad. I think we've had a great conversation. I think people will take a lot from it. And thanks ever so much for spending the time away from all your team to come and chat to us.
It's been a rest, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, mate. If you've enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, leave a comment. There's someone you know that could gain something from what we do here. Pass the pod. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you on the next one.